Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rainey. This is the Enchanted Planner, and today I'm going to take you through the process of the easiest way I have found to make crop marks on documents for printable sized or printable classic sized dashboards. This has been a request on the list for quite a while, so I figured I'd get it out today. So we're going to start with a document size that is 8.5 by 11. If you need to type that up in here, just make sure that this box is not pixels. It needs to state inches. I've used it recently, so I'm just going to click on that. Now, coming over here to the element side, we are going to choose shapes and we're going to grab a box. We're going to make this box 6.75 across, or in this case 6.8 because it doesn't do 6.75 quite that well. And we're going to make it 9.25 or 9.3 long. If it's not centered, you can click this up here and hit align to page and then select center and middle, and it will plunk it in the right spot. So for example, align to page, middle, and align to page center, and then it is centered. Next on the agenda is we're going to come back over here to elements and we're going to type in X, simply X. Go to the graphics tab and we're going to grab just a basic X. I know, exciting, right? Let's rotate this 45 degrees. And then we're going to make it smaller. We're going to zoom in because I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to put this up in each corner. Let's get this a bit smaller. And then we're going to duplicate our little friend here. And we're going to plunk one in each corner. One more. And then we're golden. So now if we zoom in, you can see that in some cases, let's bring it forward. Oh no, it is forward. Okay, so we're going to send it backward. And then we're going to send this guy backward. But we'll need to move him in just slightly. Or what's much easier is to just widen and lengthen this ever so slightly. And then let's make it just a tad wider, because we want these crop marks to be behind, so we only see one half of them. So in this case now, it's already backwards. So let's send that guy backwards. He's already backwards. And then let's correct that, send him backwards and him backwards. And then we're going to change the inside square to white. So come up here to the color box, select white, and we're good. So now, as you can see, you can just see the crop marks. You don't see any of the rest of the X, but I do next lock all of this in place. So I'm going to highlight everything and I'm going to come to the three dots down to lock. Now I can work on top of this and nothing is going to move, which is the important part. The next step is I recommend putting in a representation for your margin, which is where the punch will go. So let's make this guy as long as he needs to be, but he's only going to be 1/2 inch or so wide. Now lock him in place. We're going to change the color on him later. We'll make him white later, but right now we just need a representation for where the punch holes are going, or the punched holes are going to be as we create this dashboard. Next, you've got a couple of options. You can come into elements. Now, if you only, give me something. Okay, so if you only have the free version of Canva, I recommend coming up here to the three drop down to bring this up so you can choose only free elements that are shown. Next, let's type in Halloween, and it's going to bring up all kinds of fun stuff, and all of this will be free. So let's go to the photos area first, shall we? So maybe we like some of these images and we're going to use them as a dashboard. Like this one's great. Let's grab this guy. And we're going to make him as wide as necessary, but also as tall. And you'll notice that as we play around with the height, we're losing the image, but that's okay because we're going to get him back. Now, if we double click, you can leave it like this, but if you don't like the way that looks, double click on it and it's going to bring up the entirety of what the image is. Then you can reposition it to something that you do like and then hit done. And then if we zoom out a bit, you can see we've kind of got this spooky kind of look to it. Now, maybe we want to put in some text. So let's go up to the T for text. And let's bring this up. And let's type in happy haunting. Now, I'm not big on italicized, so we're going to get rid of that. But I'm also going to change the font. So let's try this one. I absolutely really love this font right now. It's probably one of my favorites. There we go. Oop, I moved my picture. Let's grab just the text and get that centered. Now in this case, the margin being in the back isn't too big of a deal, but if you wanted to see it, you could send this backward so our margin shows up. As I said, in this particular one, it's not too bad. I'm going to change the color of this font to white because this isn't an image that there's no words over there that we would punch through. If this was on the margin, we'd be having a very different conversation. But we're also going to make this a little bit more punchy. So I'm going to duplicate this image. And then if we come up to the effects tab, we have all these things. We have shadow, we have lift, we have echo, we have glitch, we have neon. There's a lot of things you can play around with in here. Outline, but let's play around with glitch. No, I like echo better. And we're going to change the color of the echo to black. Let's change that to black. There we go. So now, oops, I'm moving my, I should probably lock my image. Let's go lock my image so I don't move it around. Now, if I want to play around with the text, I can move things around. I can send this backwards. So this comes up in the front and then it's got like this really kind of cool shadow that matches the image behind, right? Which is kind of cool. We'll group those and then we can move them around as one piece. So that's just one example of things that you can play around with. So let's duplicate this. We don't have to recreate all of our crop marks and stuff, but I am going to get rid of the elements that we've added. So let's unlock that and delete it. Now, if you're looking for ideas, you can come up to design, and this is going to bring up the templates area. And if we type in Halloween, for example, now these are only included in the pro version. I don't think we have an option to, no, we don't have an option to sort by free or paid, but you can get really good ideas in here on things you might want to make as dashboards. Like for example, this guy's really cute. Oh. Right, it's not cooperating. Can you just go on the, yeah, fine, be difficult here. The problem is now that I've imported it over, it's taken up the entirety of the page, which we didn't want, right? But what I am saying is you can find some really cute ideas over in the templates area that you can just recreate on your own by using the free images. So let's go back to elements and let's type in backgrounds. Let's see what we got with backgrounds. We've got I actually like the ombre backgrounds. And let's see, we can play around with the colors, I think, for ombres. I do not remember. I don't play around. Ooh, that's kind of fun. Let's see what that gives us. So we're going to plunk this onto our dashboard and make it wide enough and then send it backwards so we can still see our purple or our representation of margin. And then I'm going to lock that so it doesn't move all over the place. And then I'm going to come back up here to elements and we're going to search for spooky. Let's see what we get if we look for spooky in the graphics area. Oh, we've got ghosts. We've got frames. This is a cute one. Now, this is going to cover up our background, but I actually really, really think this graphic is cute. And you can size it just as is to fit the dashboard. And as you can see from that, there would be a punch probably over the edge of the ghost, but that's not too big of a deal. But let's delete that and let's see what else we can find in here. Ooh, this is kind of fun. Can make this a bit bigger. And see, right now it's only showing me images that are free because we have it filtered by such. You can also change the colors up here on this graphic if you wanted to by playing around with that. But there's all kinds of fun things that can be done in Canva to create these cute dashboards. So what do we do now? You'd have to download it, and we're going to have a little chit chat about this. So the way this is set up right now with the crop marks and being centered and in the middle of the page, if I was to print these back to back, like double-sided, they will line up perfectly, which is why it's important to have the area metered out with the crop marks. But we do need to download it. So we're going to download by clicking the share button and selecting download. And then we're going to select PDF. Now, there's two options in here. There's PDF standard and there's PDF print. The difference is PDF print gives you the option to choose the color profile by RGB or CMYK, which is best for like professional printing. It means that it's a more opaque print, more saturated print is the word I'm looking for. But for most of us, just using our basic printers at home, PDF standard is just fine. And you're going to click the download button and then save it to your computer and then open it up and print it. Now, when we go to print it, for example, let's download, just give me page 1 for now. This is something that we get tripped up on every once in a while is we forget that we have to actually print it actual size. So if I come over here to the downloads folder and I hit the print button, oh, I forgot to change the margin to part white. We'll do that in a second. But when we're looking at this, if you're opening it in Adobe Reader, it's going to bring this up. We need to make sure that it prints as actual size. If it's at anything else, it's not going to print properly to fit the classic planner. So let's go back to our little dude over here. Let's change our margin. Let's make this guy white, or we can eliminate him completely because we don't really need him there. And the same in this case, I would just eliminate it completely because I know where the punch is going to be, but I don't really need it there. If you wanted to, you can keep it on there, just change it to white. But if you've got a colored background, obviously that's not going to work very well. So just make sure that you change that margin or delete it completely. And then you download it and print it at actual size and you're off to the races. And of course, if you're doing this for a big happy planner, you don't need to worry about any of the crop marks. You just plunk everything onto the 8.5 by 11 size and you are good to go. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it useful. It's been on the request list for quite a while. I love doing these tutorials. So if you guys, as you guys think of them and you mention them to me, I add them to the list and I make my way through them whenever I get a chance. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next time. Ciao.